This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All these officers, and it has been a bond of contention. So, and constitution which says then it is a must for us to achieve two-thirds gender rule in all appointive and all the elected spaces that we do have. Political parties has been seen as an important aspect in ensuring that we achieve this through the nomination processes, through internal mechanisms, nominations, in ensuring that we achieve this, but we've not been able to achieve that. We have the affirmative officers. You talk about the office of the woman rep that has been put in place, but still, even with that, we're still unable to achieve the same. Chief Justice, former Chief Justice Emeritus David Maraga made a judgment during the time as the Supreme Court that maybe it's about time that the president at the time, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, played a role in disbanding parliament. Let's go back and ensure that we achieve the two-thirds gender rule, because at the time, the constitution of parliament was unconstitutional, and continued operationalization of that house was going against the constitution. So then enter Aaron Cheruiyot, who is the senator and majority leader in the Senate, and this is what he's saying, that the Senate is considering a proposal that could reshape parliament's composition by introducing a formula to guarantee compliance with the two-thirds gender rule. Now, the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 2 of 2025, tabled by Majority Leader, that is Aaron Cheruiyot, aims to address long-standing challenges in ensuring equitable representation of men and women in both houses. The proposal further calls for changes to Article 90 of the Constitution to promote transparency in how political parties prepare their nomination list. It requires that party members be fully involved in the process through fair and democratic methods outlined in their constitutions and nomination rules. So here they're talking about political parties involving their members. So that means involving wananchi who form the political parties. Which is important to make decisions on who end up at the ballot, pretty much. So according to Cheruiyot, political parties should also ensure that their party lists reflect the inclusion of marginalized groups as provided under Article 100 of the Constitution, depending on the nature and composition of the list. That is just what the Senate now, through that bill, wants to do. But we've also done research and reports before that speak to the same.
So what he's trying to do is creating legislation to support what the Constitution has required, which is the expectation. A little bit way longer, and there's a delay that has been. But then when you're trying to mainstream and ensure that gender comes to the fore, it has been looked at that, most likely men are benefiting much more from this than the ordinary, the women. And that's why we need to have a process that probably would be able to help this be effected. Then the question you asked then is, do we really believe about the two-thirds gender rule? Do you think probably in our constitution what we did is an overkill, trying to put it in the constitution as a mandatory? It's not aspirational. It must be done. But then we are getting into headwinds every time we try to do this. I think there was a gender bill that was supposed to have, and it never passed. So there are issues around probably, is it a cultural problem? Do we have an issue with the fact that women should be representing, or we have a good number of women representing, in the political spaces, appointive positions in government, and other public service offices. So there's much more to be achieved, but then the question is, are we really ready for this? Just the same way maybe the biggest democracy in the world, the US, has had a chance to elect a woman president twice, and they've turned it down. So maybe we are not ready.
Yeah, I think there's a point where we have this conversation with Kenyans on where we find ourselves today with regard to two-thirds gender rule and what they have to say about the same. So we give you an opportunity to call us, and the numbers to call is 0732 142 653 or 0732 142 650. The number to call again, remember, is 0732 142 653 or 0732 142 650. And the question that we are asking you this morning, what will it take to attain the two-thirds gender rule? Is it possible for Kenya, where we find ourselves today, to achieve that rule, to achieve the two-thirds gender rule? And if we can, what is stopping us from achieving it? If it's difficult, is it about time that we look at the Constitution on what is achievable, what is not achievable, and move forward? Because it is very critical. Women must as well be in these positions. Do we open it so that it is they get into these spaces and compete like everybody else? It has been said that based off the build-up of women, the way they are competing with men in these political spaces, it's difficult because of who we are as a country, how we look at women, the violence during campaigns, which one would say we also just need to change as a people, right? It has been very difficult for people with disability, women, to find themselves and in these spaces. Let us just listen into this caller who is calling in. Good morning. How are you and where are you listening from? What is your position with regard to the attainment of two-thirds gender role?
Hello, how are you?
Hi, fine, thank you. How are you?
Fine, good morning. My name is Luceno.
Yes, Luceno.
I'm calling from Kakamega.
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you for the question that you're raising and even for the platform, because it gives us an opportunity to probably throw in one or two words in terms of thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the two-thirds gender composition of appointive and elected positions, I tend to think in a certain way it is attainable, but the architecture of our country may never even allow it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is, you see, like, for example, when we had initially we had 110 elected MPs, and then we would have another addition, which would used to make it some. I think that am I right? It used to be 210.
210, yes.
You see, we didn't need to increase the number of elected positions.
Mm-hmm.
What we needed to do was to factor in the balance that brought to 290 should have just been all nominated.
Mm-hmm.
Nominated based on a very clear criteria: professionalism, competence, regional balance, and at the end of the day, the parties would be compared that you have been given 3 slots, they will all be ladies and they must be representative of the country diversity. But you see, what happens is we have left too much power to politicians. And this is an area, this is a conversation. Mpaka siku moja hii Kenya itakuja kuchomeka. That is when we will realize that institutions should be stronger for the country to prosper.
Yeah.
Because they come to office, they dismantle existing institutions, they skew them around, and we keep celebrating them. Because why did we have to add? There is no way you can compel people in, this is a patriarchal society, which basically the man takes the lead position in society or in the family. There is no way you will expect this thing to ever happen. It will never, the two-thirds gender will never happen. We needed a situation which must rein into the personal weaknesses so that the institutions can address the weaknesses that exist in our personal weaknesses.
Luceno, when you talk about that it can't be achieved in the country, is it because we as Kenyans find it difficult to vote for women, to vote for people with disability? Where's the problem? And how do we look at it differently for us to say we're making a positive stride?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We have matriarchal and patriarchal. Cultural structures in the world. Kenya and most African countries are patriarchal, where the man takes the lead position in the community and in the family. What we needed to do is to establish institutions that can mitigate that weakness. The individual weakness must be addressed by strong institutions. That's what I'm saying. Instead of us having to raise the positions of the elective positions to 290, what we needed basically is to address the gender issue. Because at 210, if we had added the 80, and they were taking care of the gender issue. Where let's say if I am, let's just take, for example, I'm the UDA chairman in a region or in the country, and we have been given 20 slots of the 80 or so. It would be, the law should require me that if already I have elected positions from one gender who are already there, then the rest that I'm nominating must be the opposite gender. And that was a very simple thing. But we let politicians, because we believe they are very intelligent people and very special people, we let them run the whole thing. We let them run the whole thing, and they do it the best way they know.
So I think, Luciano, let's just flip this. This is open. Let's flip this and ask, if it was men who were struggling to get into a certain position, would the approach have been different? Secondly, is because the argument and the assumption that has been made is the 2/3 gender rule is about women, whereas in actual sense it's about gender. It has nothing to do with men or women. So, in terms of, is it just women who are disadvantaged? If it was men who were in a scenario where they are not able to meet certain, being in public spaces, would it have been any different? Is this a cultural problem and nothing to do with the requirement of the law? Or should we get rid of it?
I think you have asked me and almost answered the same question. Meaning the underlying framework within which the African man operates is that the man is the head. Now, when the man is the head, there are chances that when you are dividing that particular pie, you have a tendency to want to have this self-inclined kind of focus. So I'm saying, whether it was men or women, the question should never even have a reason, because the institutions that we were putting in place were to address the gender, not the gender balance issue.
Yeah.
Not the question of whether I'm a man or a woman. No. We are just saying we already had 210 elected MPs. Which means a third would be around 70.
Within the 210. And not increasing the number. That's what you're saying.
Yes, within the 210. So what we needed to raise to 290, we did not need to make them elected. What would have done, like what the South Africans do? Yeah. They normally have a list of the people they are likely to nominate, which Kenya tried to emulate, but it always does the wrong thing with the right thing.
Copy bad manners.
It does what everybody else does, but with very wrong bad manners in it.
Yeah.
So what you would have done, basically, because around that time, we had a few elected ladies or men, whichever way you look at it. Gender was not about men or women. It was just about, you look at the two sexes and you decide. So what you would do is, the Electoral Commission had a very easy work to do. To look at, these have come through UDA, these have come through ODM, these have come through whichever other thing. So they come up with, these are the people, the gaps we have in UDA are maybe 10. The gaps we have in ODM are maybe 30. To make their members a full 2/3 arrangement. And then they would be asked to then forward the names. The names must also include the element of inclusivity and national coverage. But you see what they ended up saying is, now that we have already added this, we add another one now to make it almost 400 MPs, who are already a big burden to Kenyans to foot in terms of the budgeting and the allowances they go home with and the CDF. And so it's a whole mess that Kenyans have allowed politicians to run professional areas for them also,
Yeah.
Because this was all a statistical issue. It had nothing to do with politics. It was just a statistical issue to be run by statisticians and professionals. That is my thought.
Thank you very much, listener, and we appreciate the same. Remember, the number to call in is 0732 142 653 or 0732 142 650 in terms of the matter to do with the gender question. What must we do to achieve it? Is it possible for us to achieve it? Luceno here saying that it was easy for us to go about it, or work within the 210 numbers and the rest that is out there, nomination. But there's something that he said when we started, that when he called in, that it is important for us as well to have individuals who are competent and will deliver, and not just because they are in a political party.
Yeah.
Let's just take this our new phone call as well. Good morning, and how are you? Where are you calling us from? And what is your position on the topic this morning? That seems to have the phone call has dropped. But yes, like you're saying,
I keep wondering, do we probably blame the framers of the Constitution, or because there's a contention in terms of what was the wording of the two-thirds gender rule. Should it have been put in the Constitution as a way of solving the problem? Or are we supposed to create a scenario where everybody should feel comfortable to vie for an elective post, irrespective of what it is? Because I feel affirmative action is very good.
Yep.
But, in the long run, it becomes a problem again, because it's going to, like the affirmative issue about the girl child. Now, the boy child is disenfranchised. So it tends to create a problem in the long run. Can we, or was it a stopgap measure we needed to have for a short while, then later find a way to ensure that, because like women reposition, you can't vie for it twice, I think. I think there's something like that.
No, you can, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in terms of being appointed to a position and being given because you're just a certain gender is really not the best way to deal with it, in my view.
I think when you look at the gender rule, for a very long time it has been confused to only mean that it is there to address the women in the space. But remember, the two-thirds gender rule applies to men. If they are the minority, then that law applies, So the question is, as we talk about elective positions, we talk about appointive positions. Do we have that in us, say, as the President of the Republic, in my appointment, that I know as a bare minimum that I must meet the two-thirds gender rule? That individuals that I'm even appointing, I'm not just appointing them because they were in my campaign, whatever, but I'm appointing individuals who will help me achieve my mandate, will help me deliver for the people of Kenya, and that it is not a question that someone has to go to court because you have not met the appointments, because by default you are supposed to do it. When it comes to the nomination as well, when it comes to the nominations within political parties, do political parties understand what they are required to do to achieve the two-thirds gender rule? So it comes to the nomination, right?
Yeah.
It comes to them as well being the champions of that article in the Constitution and making it aware for its members that, this is where we are as a people. This is what the Constitution says. We have gone through individuals who are interested to run for our party, and we have selected individuals that we are offering to you based on criteria, based on their performance, based on their credentials, and these are the people that we're giving unto you to be able to be elected through our political party. Because for a very long time, we find political parties have not picked the gender question and run with it.
No, they can't.
It only becomes a conversation when they have not met the threshold, but they never get to talk about it. But let me read this comment that has been shared here by Smokey MC Bandit, who says, gender isn't about two sexes, by the way. That's what he's saying. That even that is unknown shows a lot of people engage the country and citizenry with a lack of knowledge and a lot of inconsideration that is harmful. So when you talk about gender, like when you talk about the gender equality question, people always think of, that is a women's issue.
Which is, and I said, it's all about understanding. What do we understand by the gender problem? Did we engage Kenyans fully? Or at the point of framing this Constitution, was it assumed that it's only women who have not been given the opportunity to be in spaces? Maybe because of our culture, that's the reason. But then I think there has to be a concerted effort and a conscious decision that we need to meet this. If we are not meeting what the law requires, we are breaking the law. And as it is, the government...
We have done that consistently.
And we don't seem to care because flip it, and as I said, what if it was men who were in that position? Wouldn't they be fighting? So we, as a country, maybe we need to relearn, to understand, or just decide this part of the Constitution we don't need.
Yeah, and you see, that's the most difficult position to find ourselves in, because then you'd find that those who are champions for the same will come out and say, yo, no, as the society where we are, we must have equity in the representation, and everybody must have a seat at the table.
Yep.
You know, that as a country, as much as we've seen that this is difficult for us to achieve, it is important for us to be intentional for us to achieve it.
That's the word, intentional.
We have to be intentional, because that is what has been lacking. The intention to implement the same, and that has to come from the political parties. Not political parties, not even political class, the political parties themselves, you know. Because you'll find political parties, again, have not taken the gender question as an important topic of debate.
It's a footnote.
It's a footnote. It is a by the way that does exist.
Yeah.
But remember, the number to call in is 0732 142 653 or 0732 142 650. Again, the number to call is 0732 142 653 or 0732 142 650. You can as well comment on our YouTube, on our Instagram, on our X pages, and we're able to share with you as well. There is a running poll on YouTube. Share with us so that we're able to know where exactly you stand. And the poll question is, do we need to factor in gender in matters legislation and representation?
A lot going on. So this country has aspirations. We write very good policies. We
have the best constitution in the world.
We speak eloquently.
Yeah.
We borrow things because we want to develop and become a better country. But then it's always been in the practice of what we have found or what we're looking for. The challenge is, was there goodwill in the first place to want to do this? Or is it because people felt, and maybe the challenge is, you know, because they keep insisting that they want to be at the table.
So let me check this. Good morning. How are you? Where are you calling us from? And what is your position on the subject this morning?
Thank you. My name is Vincent.
Vincent, you're calling us from?
Calling from Chakas.
Yes.
I was saying this issue of gender, and it's been entrenched in our constitution.
Yes.
I think this is a very big problem. It is a cultural problem. Because I was asking myself, what about if the men were on the other side? Should we have men representatives in the 47 counties? So the issue that you are fighting about culture. So my issue is about let's first teach society about culture, and also how we can elect people, whether they're buying whether it's a county office, whether it's a national office. So on my view, is a very big problem that we have in society. And we need to first tell people what they are supposed to do.
Thank you very much, Vincent, for that. Vincent says that this is a cultural issue that needs to be addressed. You know, so as much as it is a good aspect, it is a good approach, but we need to first fix our cultures, where we belong to and who we are. Because remember, it is the same thing that Luceno has said.
Yeah, I think it's quite clear. Though, you know, the legal element of it on the policy and how it's been, you know, suggested is quite clear. There's a basis from which we are doing this. There's, you know, quite a number of things. It's just a basic human right that there's proper representation in terms of there has to be a sense that everybody feels to be a part of the governance structure and system. However, we know, probably at the level where we find ourselves, we haven't had an acceptance that probably there's an imbalance. We're already complaining, forget even about the 2/3 gender rule. Generally, in terms of our politics, there's a total imbalance where not many people can be able to access positions of power. Political parties give nominations based on who is giving more money and not about the capacity and ability. So maybe, and again, I go back to saying, putting it in the constitution is an overkill. We could have found another better way to do it because it's made mandatory, but then it flies on the face. Nobody cares about it. The courts have declared and pronounced themselves.
I think I'd want to challenge that argument because, you see, the reason why it was put in the constitution is so that it is a requirement that people have to play by that. You know, because for a very long time, matters to do with the gender representation was never given the focus. It was never even discussed the way we're discussing it right now because it was not an important subject to talk about, right? Then the framers of the Constitution at the time saw the need of equality because if you look at the Article 27.8 and 8...
There's 27.6 and 27.
Let's receive this, then I'll come back to my point. Good morning. How are you, and where are you calling us from, and what is your position on the matter to do with the 2/3 gender rule? Good morning. If you could just lower the volume of your television so that we could understand each other.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Seto, for another chance again. I've already called. My name is Lucena.
Lucena, yes.
It's just to further up on this, there is a comment your colleague has said that it shouldn't have been in the Constitution. And, you know, ordinarily, you cannot enforce a law which is not available.
Yes.
Meaning, the Constitution gives us the framework on which, if we had active and seriously thinking MPs, they should have, you know, pegged their... They actually hinge the legislation agenda on what the Constitution is intended to achieve. Now, what has happened, and I'm saying this, the biggest challenge we had is that we had an implementation commission which was never brought into an area of accountability. So it left office when so much was still unaddressed. And then when MPs now take over, they assume that is not even important now anymore. So there would be no way we can have an enforceable mechanism if this was not in the Constitution, because the Constitution gives actually the platform on which all laws are supposed to be developed. So I wanted just to make that point that I think I wouldn't agree more with you when you said you are challenging that argument, because it could have found its legs if it was not in the Constitution.
Yes.
But what is required here is goodwill, and we must respect the institutions that we have put in place. What I have a problem with in Kenya is that even the educated, the most professional people don't even understand why they went to school to inform the development of our country. They listen to people who are semi-literate. To give them direction even in areas of their specialization, You know?
Yes.
That is the problem we have in this country.
Thank you very much, Lucena, and I agree with you. And like I was saying, like the only way for us to have this was for it to be in the Constitution. Let us listen to Omar from Kwale. Good morning. How are you, sir? And tell us, what is your position on the 2/3 gender rule? Yes, please lower your volume of your TV so that we can understand each other.
Good morning, Aseto.
Good morning to you, Omar. How are you?
I'm fine. Now, the issue of affirmative action and whatever, this women's position in parliament or elective spaces was born of an affirmative action thing. But the issue is the permanence of that affirmative action. Because we've been singing women since time immemorial. They have been brought at par. Right now, when you apply for a job, majority of the people who will turn up for that job are women. That tells you these people have gone to school, they've got the papers, they've got the qualifications. They can wade in the muddy waters of politics. And politics is muddy, so nobody should be shielded. It's a dirty game, and whoever plays it must be ready to soil their hands. What perhaps you would do right now is maybe we consider other marginalized groups in the society, because women aren't the only ones who are perceived to be marginalized. Persons with disability, for instance. Because when you give those slots for persons with disability, they'll come in both sexes, men or women, and that will be a fairer representation. These women who don't have disabilities are fit to wade in the muddy waters of politics.
Yeah.
They are. The society actually understands them. We've got women governors. My governor is a woman, Honorable Fatuma Achan.
Yeah.
In fact, she's from a minority, the Chifundi people, minority in the Kwale region.
Yeah.
But she is governor, despite her being a woman. Homa Bay has a female governor.
Yeah.
So we ought to look into another direction right now. Women are already at par with men, and in fact, they have overtaken us.
Not quite. Not quite.
Very quite, actually.
Because
Very quite.
when you look at the statistics, it's about 33% representation, and mostly it's achieved through party nominations and not direct elective posts. So, they've made some good progress, but they still haven't met the requirement. So I don't think it's truly correct.
Election-wise, for elective posts, you say it's 33%. That's a third of the population. They've already met that threshold. But in real life, you go to the markets, you go to schools, go to the universities, go to civic spaces, go to corporate societies, go to the corporate world. You see how many women are there, top tier.
They're just equally more men, and even when you look at the pay structure, it's an international conversation. You've even had issues around, the pay structure for men and women is a bit different. Yeah. So there's progress that has been made, and I think, Omar, you have a valid point that the number of women has increased in spaces, but not necessarily in leadership and in appointive positions, and that's a fact that men dominate.
How long should we keep nominating them?
We should. I think how we look at it, Omar, would be we have the constitution and the law, and that is there to be implemented, right? Yeah. And with the difficulty that we find ourselves in today to achieve that, right? Then how do we move forward? Can Kenya today, as we stand today, able to achieve the 2/3 gender rule?
Okay, maybe we need to face reality.
Yeah.
Rather than sensationalizing issues.
All right, so Omar, let me listen to others who are calling in, and asante sana for your comments. Isaiah Maina, good morning, Isaiah. How are you? How is Nandi County this morning? And what's your feedback, or rather your contribution to on the 2/3 gender rule this morning?
Good morning to you. The idea itself is good. I would like to state that I am a serving member of County Assembly.
Yes.
The agenda is good in the sense that it's supposed to include people who are either considered to have been sidelined or probably not in the decision making. But then the question would be, after 15 years, as we go to 2027, can we now say that it has served its purpose? That's the question. Do we say now that because women have been there, is it that the parliament is making better decisions? And when we talk about decisions here, we are not looking at women issues. We are looking at all the issues. Yep. Remember that the 47 women MPs are MPs.
Yes.
And they are supposed to serve under Article 95 of the Constitution. There is no other role for the women, as they are called as women reps and what have you. They are just supposed to be MPs.
Yeah.
And so the question is, the purpose would have been to have a better parliament in terms of decision making. So we would like to look at the qualities of the decisions that parliament has been making now, as compared to the times when we did not have so many women.
Yeah.
And the question would be, are we now moving in a better direction? Are we improving? Are we doing better? The same case goes for county governments, county assemblies. We have so many women that always fill up that position, and they are quite a number. Like, for instance, in Nandi County, we will have more than 10 that are nominated. And I will tell you, the total number is out of the total number elected. The elective positions are 30.
Okay. Those are good.
And then now you find that you nominate more than 15. So, which already, first of all, makes it a joke, because that is already a quorum.
Yeah.
And then those same people that are nominated, you will be shocked that they never say anything. I know of a large number of them who have not spoken up to now for 3 years, almost 4.
All right. Yeah.
So this is a big issue. I think we should go back to the fundamentals. We should ask ourselves, what was the objective of having the women in these positions? It is not wrong to have them.
Yeah.
But can they then bring up the issues? Can they improve the decision making? If we are not ending up making better decisions, then it doesn't, I'm afraid it will just be maybe kazi kwa watu. Unapatia watu kazi, then they just stay there, enjoy themselves, and they become bosses and big people. That's all.
Okay, asante sana Isaiah from Nandi County, and these are different. These are different comments that are being made here, and as well, if you just look at the conversation that is ongoing on our YouTube, many Kenyans are speaking here, starting from Christina, who is calling for those who are not delivering to just go. You know, it doesn't mean that because you're a woman and you're not delivering, you need to be there.
Yeah.
So this is also calling upon those who've been given the opportunity to get into these spaces and work for Wananchi, because at the end of the day, we will call for 2/3 gender rule. And even when we see that the numbers have improved, what is then the quality assurance?
Return on investment,
as well, you know. And this is not to say that,
men are better.
That men are better. It's not to say that those who have been given opportunities in these spaces have not done anything.
Yeah.
But then again, these are questions that Kenyans are asking. And if you look at even the poll that is ongoing right now and the results that are there, and the results as well are saying a lot. But if you just want to know on the same, we have 57% on the question, do we need to factor in gender in matters legislation? 58% saying yes, and 42% saying no. Let us get these. Good morning. How are you? Where are you calling us from? And what's your position with regard to the 2/3 gender rule?
My name is Cleophas.
Hi, Cleophas. Where are you calling us from?
I'm from Kisumu.
Yes.
So, what I think, it is a good idea to achieve the 2/3 gender rule. But then we should make sure that when we finally achieve it, we must make sure that they do their work. There must be something called the quality assurance. Yeah, because maybe if we achieve that, it will not solve our problems. Yeah. So it is a matter of yes, we can achieve it, and when we finally achieve it, let them work. Yes, I think it is a good idea actually.
Thank you very much. Cleophas from Kisumu County saying that it is an idea, but it's a good idea. But even at 10, kazi fine.
But then I keep asking.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen. If really we wanted to implement this, it's possible.
Yeah.
And this is how. The president of this country, whether in the past or present, has a lot of power and influence and sway. For instance, he drove the agenda of affordable housing. He drove the agenda of, universal healthcare. If he picks this as a pet subject, I don't think people will have a problem towing the line. So maybe that's the goodwill that we need, because leadership then directs people, and there's an understanding on his part to say, we made a promise to Kenyans, and this has to be delivered. And so when I'm looking at the report, the analysis that was done in 2025 by the Ministry of Gender, it just glosses over issues. It does not really address. What they point out is that the problems of implementation, but in terms of the suggestions for how to implement it, that's where they get stuck in the muddy waters. So I feel there's no proper goodwill from the leadership of the day. And if there was, it should be seen in implementation
and
in appointing positions.
And I think you're right
given.
when you talk about the goodwill, because I would want to look at it from the political party's perspective. So let's look at the Kenya Kwanza government, right? Mm-hmm. So here we have a majority who were elected through Kenya Kwanza were men. Yeah. And that would also mean that when it comes to nomination, Kenya Kwanza as a coalition at the time had more seats to nominate. The same would go for ODM, same would go for Wiper and others, Jubilee, who had opportunities to nominate many, right? And they had an opportunity to show that goodwill by nominating more women to attain that 2/3 gender rule. But let's take this call. Good morning, how are you? Where are you calling us from? And what's your position on the 2/3 gender rule and whether we are able to achieve it?
My name is Ragu. I am calling from Ngong.
Yes, Ragu.
In Kajiado, yes. Mm-hmm. My issue is that, first of all, I think it is a statistically difficult thing to do in elective posts. Mm-hmm. Because where is the choice of the people? Because if the people choose a man, there is nothing you can do about it. That is basically simple, straightforward. Maybe in only something like presidential appointments, in something like when you have something like a board, that time now you can, but you cannot force women on people. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it is statistically impossible so to do. Mm-hmm. And basically that's just my take. I think it is statistically impossible to basically be able to get to get that in elected posts.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Irogu. And you know, that's actually a very valid argument. Very valid argument, because how do you force people to vote? You know. Oh. Good morning. How are you? Where are you calling us from? And what's your take on the subject matter this morning? Yeah, that phone call seemed to have dropped. And you know, that's statistically.
Because if the people don't want, or are there enough women presenting themselves for the posts? But then the argument is there's the economic argument about, fighting for a political position. To be an MP in Kenya, you need quite a substantive, war chest, as Tiro calls it, to be able to mount a very, strong fight. Though then you ask, would that hinder people from running? Maybe it does. But then that's an economic issue and has nothing to do with the gender of the person, because men and women are equally struggling the same way. I worry. It's quite aspirational. It's something we put in the Constitution, and then people might lynch me for sounding chauvinist. But the practical element of it is the concern. How do we implement it to ensure that everybody is brought on board? Because in this case, and I think the challenge majorly, the major issue here is the fact that it's women. And men don't feel the obligation to deliver.
No, I don't think it's about men feeling the obligation to deliver. I look at it from the other side, that we find ourselves as a population that is affected by culture, just how we are as Kenyans. Yeah. But at a point where now we have the elective process, so the first way to address this would be through the political parties and them taking that as an agenda. Right? And then there is also the other aspect of Kenyans as well, just being taken through the entire communications and conversations being held, to tell people that women are equally capable to deliver. We have to deal with that cultural mindset,
but then they have to
that
also,
has existed. But then again,
the argument,
there is also the onus of women to get out there and show that they are capable to deliver.
Which is exactly what the argument that has been fronted by some people, that has the quality of legislation or policy framework improved because we have more women. As a conversation to have. It's academic, there could be an argument around it, but there's also a reality. And unfortunately, you watch the Senate proceedings.
Yeah.
Okay. The less I say about it, the better.
The better. But you see now, I also have the other side of the cog would be knowing very well the society that we are in, right? And all the options that are there, because again, I still go back to political parties and appointive positions, because political parties in their nominations, they have an opportunity to change how the society looks at women. If we have noted that the 2/3 gender rule is struggling, and that we need more women, because it could be the reverse. You know, we could be finding ourselves needing more men being needed to fill that position. So if we know that this is where we are, then political parties must look within itself and nominate women who will get into these offices.
Or push more women into politics.
Yes, or even, I'm talking about nominating women who will get into parliament and would see the contributions on the spaces, and that would help Kenyans change their mindset. Because remember, we're coming from a cultural position. Kenyans will see, they can actually do a job. That can do a job. When it comes to the next election cycle, it's automatic, because Kenyans will say, we are to deliver. That is a story of one Millie Odhiambo. Because remember, she got in as nominated. But throughout, she's been winning elections because she has shown she's worth being there.
And the same way you speak, I think, is also the same way, probably appointive public positions. We should field more women. And if they deliver, then there will be no reason for apprehension that, it's just women. They can do
a few strings